Alright, gang, we are back for the final segment of episode 3, our very special 2012 NFL Fantasy Sports Chat. So we are up to wide receivers. Right before we left for break, we were ranking by position top players. We shall start with Ziggs. Start with your wide receivers, and we'll go down top 10. Go for it, Bob.
Gotta be Megatron, Calvin Johnson.
Huge contract.
Huge contract.
Huge player.
He's unstoppable. He was the only offensive firepower they had last year, and he just produced.
Wow.
Over 1,600 yards.
600 yards and how many TDs?
Has anyone even come close?
Last year, no.
Alright. Pick 2.
I gotta go with Fitzgerald,
Fitzgerald.
Yeah, Arizona Cardinals, yeah. Anybody disagree with that second pick?
No, he is the clear second best receiver. Let me see what Ziggs has.
Who's a quarterback?
That's the thing. We don't have a quarterback situation figured out yet.
Cobb's hurt right now, and they have Skelton. I mean, who's Skelton?
But now I'm sticking with Fitzgerald at 2. What do we got at 3?
On 3, there's a lot of ways you could go. After those 2, there's a significant drop. You can go Andre Johnson, but I know he's missed a lot of time last year. You can go with Roddy White, who has a quarterback that enjoys not showing up. And you got Greg Jennings. Because of the consistency of the quarterback, I may just be tempted to go Hakeem Nicks for the Giants!
Yeah.
Really?
Wow, what a surprise! At pick 3!
I have to wear his jersey, man.
Pick 3!
Over Roddy White and Greg Jennings.
At pick 3!
I just had to do it because I had the Giants jersey. Just ignore that. But next one.
See, I'm tempted to pick a receiver from the Packers, be it Jordy Nelson or Greg Jennings, but honestly, I think with Manningham gone, I would put
Cruz as your top wideout for the Giants.
I think so.
Wow.
Who else is there? Who else is he going to pass?
Is that your next pick? Is that your next pick? Is that your fourth?
You already took Knicks, so I would take Cruz. I would take Cruz.
So let's go back. What's your next pick?
Pains me, but I'd take Wes Welker too.
Wes Welker, he's going to have a great season. I'm going to have to go with, after Wes Welker, with Andre Johnson still on the board. On the way back, I got Andre Johnson. How about you?
I'm going to go with Brandon Marshall. Back with Jay Cutler. I feel they can make some noise.
A lot of early picks. I'm going to go with Mike Wallace.
Mike Wallace
from Pittsburgh.
Mike Wallace. So we got our top 8. We got to wrap up with the final 2 for the top 10 for the wide receivers before we go into the tight ends and the last few bonus segments. So final 2.
What do you think about Des Bryant?
I punched his mother in the face and got arrested this time.
No, I think
literally.
As a player, though.
Jordy Nelson.
Yeah, you need somebody from the Packers.
Yeah,
on the top
Jordy
10.
Nelson.
I would say between Jordy and
Rodgers and Nelson. What's gonna stop that connection?
Right.
But
Gosh.
it's between Jordy Nelson and Greg Jennings. I honestly don't know. Maybe Jordy Nelson.
It's similar to the Giants
He racked
situation.
up my fantasy team last season.
Who?
Jordy Nelson.
He did. That he did.
Gosh. We got a nice little sleeper alert in AJ Green from Cincinnati. And
one more sleeper. Who do we have?
One more sleeper, and we got
Steve Smith from the Panthers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Don't tell
So with tight ends, everyone knows it's going to be Gronk at the top with Jimmy Graham. After that, there's a huge drop off with Antonio Gates, Vernon Davis, Jason Witten, Jermichael Finley. But before we, wrap up today's show, let's get to our sleeper tips. QB. Any QBs that we didn't mention that we should throw onto the sleepers?
I think the rookies, Andrew Luck and RG3, they're worth mentioning.
Anyone else?
Well, I mean, I'd agree there. You look at 2 rookies from last year, Andy Dalton and Cam Newton. Very successful seasons, 4,000 yards apiece, made it to the Pro Bowl. I think, if not Andrew Luck, definitely RG3. I think we can expect something similar, if not
The
better
Redskins,
from him.
So look at the 2 rookies for QB sleepers. How about running backs? Any sleepers there, guys?
Ben Jarvis, Ellis Green, he's going to be a starter there at Cincinnati. All he did was produce in the Patriots. They didn't even need to run. All he did was produce. And, he's a starter now.
All right.
I think we got the running backs down to go.
What about Reggie Bush? Good question, Zig. What do you feel about Reggie Bush?
Reggie
Now
Bush,
that he's on the Dolphins?
He saved my fantasy from going bad. So, I mean, last year he produced at the end of the season. This year, maybe.
Dolphins really have no quarterback.
They don't.
Really have
They have to
going
lean
for
on the
them.
running back. They lean on him.
Keep an eye out on Marshawn Lynch. He had some amazing numbers 4 or 5 years ago, and everyone thought he was a wash-up because of behavior off-the-field issues. Came back last year. Let's see if he can repeat that. Keep him in mind. Do your research, guys. Wide receiver, I definitely agree with Green Ellis. I think he's going to have an amazing season. What's going on with wide receivers? Name your favorite two, and we'll go around.
Favorite two?
Sleepers. We're going to help the folks out at home win your fantasy leagues.
Deshaun Jackson of the Eagles has a big back contract now. He's happy. And then finally, secondly, it's going to be tough. The wide receivers are just everything's just a big drop off after like the first 5-6. So I'm going to have to go with AJ Green from Cincy.
I'd say the two sleepers are Deshaun Jackson. I'm surprised you didn't mention that, and Anquan Boldin from the Ravens.
I got my sleepers. I shouldn't be giving this away, but I got my sleepers in Antonio Brown from the Steelers, the WR2. I'm being real here, folks. I'm going to give my opponents the real tips, and Brandon Lloyd, who's now with the Patriots. Final?
I mean, we already talked about Steve Smith. He's not really a sleeper. I would say, surprisingly, nobody's mentioned Eric Decker from Broncos. Now that they have a real quarterback, he had a few really good games. Saved my fantasy league every once in a while. A few times I did win, so I think he might be a good potential.
Final question for everyone. One fantasy tip for the folks at home.
If you have the picks between 3 and 4, I mean it's going to be tough between Rodgers and McCoy. You have to figure out the schedules. Look through their schedules, see when their buys are, figure it out from there.
Final tip for the folks at home.
As for wide receivers, we didn't mention him at all. Don't forget Plaxico Burress. He's a free agent. He's going to come back with a chip on his shoulder.
All right, my final tip is draft based on need. Cover all the starters first, and don't start choosing your backups until you fill out your starting lineup. It may seem obvious, but you don't know how many times people just keep loading up on RBs and they have so many wide receiver slots empty, and you can't even use half those running backs because they're just stashing your bench. Take care of your starters first. Final tip?
Final piece of advice, no matter how good your draft is, do your research every week. Some of the best, I honestly had a really crappy draft last season with Peyton Manning and Jamal Charles, but doing research, picked up Cam Newton, picked up a bunch of other players moving forward. Same advice to you guys, do your research every single week.
Pay attention, stay tuned. We'll see you next week, folks.